guys. I want to welcome you back. Wow. These weeks go really fast. Um, I think that each week I don't know how I'm going to come up with new content, but then God always finds a way to slam it right back down in my face. Maybe not something that harshly, but He put something on my heart that I want to talk about that we deal with all the time as human beings, and I think that Allison Unfiltered is a really great place to talk about this stuff. I'm going to do my best to keep names out of this because I don't want this to be like gossip in any way. But those of you that know me are probably going to figure out who it is or if it's you I'm talking about. And honestly, that's okay. I want to talk about rejection. And I want to talk about what that rejection does to our minds. It has been it's been so heavy on me, and I was talking to a friend of mine this past weekend, just kind of going down the list of some of these things and the hurts and the angers and the rejection. I know you feel it too, right? I mean, we all do in different ways of our life, in different forms of our life, we feel that rejection. But even when it's people that don't matter to us, why does it hurt so bad? I could tell you for me, I'm totally a people pleaser. And I specifically did not wear eye makeup for this podcast because I'm just probably most likely going to cry it off. I just kind of prepared for that. I even have my tissue ready to go. But why does it hurt so much? For me, I'm a people pleaser, like I said. I would worry about if there was a room full of 200 people and two of those people didn't like me, but the 198 thought I was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I would worry about the other two, what I could do to make them like me. Like I get it. I'm outspoken, I'm brash, and I'm straightforward, and I don't sugarcoat stuff. But I'm also not out to hurt anyone. I'm also not out to hurt someone's feelings. I mean, people say this all the time. If it offends you, it probably applies to you, right? And it's true. Most of us don't get butt hurt unless we can relate to it, right? So I feel like, I mean, obviously in my business and what I do in direct sales, there's rejection every day. And we're taught in our trainings to divorce the outcome and marry the process, right? There's a process of things that happen and when people say no, it's just because they're not ready yet, right? And you have some people that are really ugly. I've had some people say really ugly things on this podcast, and I feel sorry for those people that have to, like, somebody came on and said, why who would ever name their son Gage? And I'm like, screw you, right? Like, who are you to say anything? But instead of responding, I just deleted and blocked the person. I mean, that's all there is to it. There's no reason to be ugly, right? And I really don't ever intend to be. Now listen, I'm still a girl and I still get vengeful, and I've done some shitty things in my life. I am not going to lie. And maybe some of this is coming around to bite me in the ass later on, like they talk about karma. But even still, it freaking hurts. And I'm going to get into some of the things that have happened. I mean, let's go back to, let's go back to our school days. I mean, when I moved from Tyler to Dallas, oh my gosh, those kids were brutal. Like, I was this girl with these thick Coke bottle glasses and this mousy brown hair, and I had this East Texas accent, y'all. And oh my God, they made so much fun of me. They They wrote stuff on the bathroom walls about me. Allie Judd is a slut. I was like in 5th grade. I don't even know how old that is. What, like 11? I mean, kids are brutal, right? On a little side note, if you have kids and you're listening to this, don't let your kids go to school and be assholes to the other kids. And if they are, beat their ass for it. Seriously. Don't. Just don't. Don't be one of those kids that the parents that allows that. And to be honest with you, most of the time they learn it from home. So keep yourself in check with your kids. That's my public service announcement to protect all the bullied kids. Um, but rejection from school, that's where it starts. That's where we learn so much of it. Rejection from our family, rejection from our siblings, our mothers, our fathers. I've talked about before um, when my stepdad Jack walked away, and the last time I saw him, we were at his brother's funeral, and him and my mom were going through an ugly divorce. And I remember seeing him across the church foyer, and I yelled, "Dad!" I called him Dad, right? And he turned around and he looked me straight in the eyeballs and he walked away. You want to talk about some serious freaking abandonment issues? Not only did my own father walk away from our family and not spend a lot of time with us, but then Jack did the same thing. I mean, what does that tell a girl? You're not really worth much? Yeah. So I think it starts young for most of us. There was a lot of rejection when I was later in life, when I started working at the club. My family found out. My family did not speak to me for like 5 months. When they found out, they were so pissed. And you know what? Understandably so. They were mad. I get it. But I was a grown woman. Well, I was grown. I mean, I was 19. I lived on my own. I didn't live under somebody's roof. Like, I did what I wanted to do. And I was talking to my stepmom about this the other day. We had such a great conversation. I'm kind of squirreling for a second, but we talked about how, your kids, they're not going to do what you ask them to do. They're going to do what they want to do because they don't give a shit about what you think. Honestly, most of them don't. They just want to live their life and do what they want to do, and they're not thinking about you. And that'll lead into something else. But, my stepmom was like, "You were the same way." And I'm like, "I know." That's why I try not to take it too personally, right? When the kids make these decisions and they don't do what we ask of them in really big situations. But I'll get to that in a minute. But it's just interesting how much, your family plays a part in that rejection. And it hurts and it sucks. And it's even, boys and their moms and daughters and their fathers and sons and their fathers and daughters and their mothers. And then you bring in step parents and it's a whole nother ball game. Like, how do we even keep up with all this shit that's going on? So I've handled rejection a lot. Like I said, my family didn't talk to me when I worked in a club for all those years. And boy, you want to talk about rejection and learning to accept it and understand it, and that you are just not for some people. My friend Kathy taught me that I needed to get, instead of saying things like, "I don't like that," I needed to get better at saying, "Well, thank you so much for the offer. It's not for me, but I appreciate it," because I'll just tell you, like, "I don't like that. That shit's nasty," like, whatever, right? So I've tried to get a little bit better at that. Thank you, Kathy, if you're listening. But when I was at the club, I mean, you're on stage, right? And even then, I mean, self-confidence was not my strong suit. I knew that I knew I had a pretty face, but my body wasn't really up to par until I started doing a bunch of cocaine and got real skinny. And then everybody would say, "Oh, you look so good. What have you been doing? Have you been working out?" And I'm like, "No, I've just been doing a lot of coke and not eating." for months, right? It's amazing the kind of encouragement you get where it leads to. But then the rejection that you get in the same breath, like I had some guy walk up to me one time and he was like, and then this is after I had had Brighton and I came back to the club. He was like, and I had stretch marks on my stomach. He's like, how many kids have you had? And I was like, just one. And he's like, there's no way you have stretch marks like that. And just one kid. And I was like, wow, like you're an asshole. And I went back in the back room and just cried my eyeballs out because people are just mean. But there were times like, you know, uh, I would talk to the DJ. I was like, hey, put me in between these girls when I go up on stage. So like, you know, I don't want to follow like the girl that's got the perfect body and the perfect boobs and all that stuff. Cause that's not, I was too insecure at that time to do that. And then the rejection felt stronger than like, there's nothing worse than being on a main stage and nobody gets up to tip you on a Friday or Saturday night and the place is packed, right? You want to talk about, those are the days I used to go to the bar and get a couple of shots of Southern Comfort and just not give a shit anymore the rest of the night. Those were, you know, uh, pre-kid days. But yeah, I mean, rejection is something I've dealt with my whole life. You know, what about you? Have you dealt with it all your life from family, from friends? I mean, relationships. Um, and I have to like figure out like how do I keep going? You know, how do I convince myself and understand that this rejection is just not, it's not really about me, it's about the other person and what they like and don't like, right? And that's what my friend that I talked to this weekend, that's what we talked about. Um, we talked about how I can't carry that on me, you know. So, Ayana, thank you for that talk. It's good stuff. So I want to back up and tell you a little bit about what's happened over the last few weeks. And some of these things have been in the previous podcast, but I really just put pen to paper and these rejections were significant to me for sure. And the first one was a very good friend of mine's birthday. We've been friends since we were, I don't know, 15 years old. And I called her for her, I didn't try, I called her for her birthday and she didn't answer. And I couldn't leave a voice message for her because her voicemail was full. And so I sent a text and I was like, hey, biatch, you know, you're like 3 years away from 50 now. Call me back because I want to be able to tell you happy birthday in person. Birthdays are a big deal to me, okay? Growing up, we had a birthday party for every birthday. I've done that for my kids. Like, I still wake my kid, the ones that live here, I still wake them up singing happy birthday to them with a candle and a honey bun. Like that, I mean, I'll go buy a pack of honey buns just to be able to do that for my kids, right? Speaking of, Alexa, add honey buns to the shopping list. Honey buns added. Okay, she got it. So, because Gage's birthday's coming up. My baby's gonna be 20. Okay, squirrel. So it was my friend's birthday, and I just said, you know, call me back because I want to tell you happy birthday in person and not just over a text. It seems so very impersonal to me. And she says, well, I've got a busy day, so if I get a few minutes, I will. Are you going to talk about the sail knocked out of the winds knocked out of my sail? It's like, what? Like, I made it a point to message you, to like call you on your birthday, and I'm not even important enough for you to take 2 minutes on I mean, I don't care if you're sitting on the toilet pooping. Like, call me back. Let me tell you happy birthday. Let me hear your voice. Let me tell you I love you, you know? Nothing. That hurts. I get it. People are busy, but don't be too busy for the people who still reach out and give a shit about you because those are your people. The people that call and check on you and ask and see how you're doing, those are your people. Don't give up on those people. And don't be too busy for those people either. So that was one, and that was at the end of July. And then a few weeks ago, I had a podcast about the friend of mine who we've been friends since I was like 18 years old. And she tried to, I don't know if we were talking about the business and things like that. And she was under the impression that I did her dirty, which I did not. She just didn't understand what I was trying to say to her because she doesn't understand the business. And she's like, I'll talk to you. I'm busy. I'll talk to you when I can. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't know we talked to each other like that as friends. Right. So when I'm like reaching out over and over, like, hey, let's get on the phone. Hey, let's talk. And then you get talked to like that. And then they try to call you out in front of your whole audience on Facebook about some shit that you did when you were like 20. Like, I mean, so there's rejection number two. That was the next week. And then the week after that, our team was traveling to regional training. And normally we figure out something to ride together or carpool or whatever to help save money, room together, things like that. And no one on my team reached out to me. They had a chat all together, but no one, it never crossed anybody's mind to reach out and be like, oh, let's find out what Allison's doing. Let's add her to the chat. And so that brings like questions, right? Questions about yourself. Well, what have I done wrong? What did I do to make somebody mad? Like everything was fine the last time we all went. Was it really bad? And then Danny's like, well, you know how it is. They don't like, people don't want the boss riding with them and stuff like that. And because I'm the team lead, I guess is what you could say. And I'm like, that's not it. I wasn't like that on that trip. I wasn't like that at all. So I don't understand that. And that hurt. Like, it was significant. And I don't think that these people realize how significant that was, but it was significant to the point that I shed some tears over it. Like, that kind of broke my heart because like these are the people that I invite into my home. These are the people that when they need help with their business, I drop everything. I drop whatever's going on with my kids, my family. I put everything on the back burner for this business and for these people. So for me to not even be a thought sucked. So that was last week. And then also last week, um, one of our kids got engaged. And I had asked because the person that he proposed to, we met about 3 years ago and it did not go well. We thought it went really well. But when she got home, she tore him a new asshole about it. And he writes us this like 4-page email about how horrible we were and he'd never bring anybody to the house again. And they had a very tumultuous relationship. She's definitely an alpha female for sure. And their relationship was her controlling a lot of it. And I even remember when she came over to pick up some of her stuff from him after they broke up, she had expectations of him that he was not ready for. My neighbor was, I love my neighbor. She was looking out the window and she was watching this girl like shake her finger in our son's face. And I'm like, that's not the kind of relationship you want to be in, you know? And, from my understanding, they've been seeing each other for a little while again. They've both, done some counseling. They've They've both grown as people, which is great. And so I asked my son, I said, what I would like, because he came to us a few weeks ago and said that he was proposing. I said, what I would like is for you to, I would like for us to go out to dinner. I would like to have a fresh start and get to know this young lady that you love and you want to spend the rest of your life with. I'd like to get to know her, who she is today. And Danny was on board with that, and our son was on board with that. He said, I think that sounds like a good idea. I'll talk to her and see what she says. And then a few days later, we got a text saying that she wasn't comfortable going to dinner with us, with just the four of us. Unfortunately, she was willing to give her time with all the rest of the kids there, like the other brothers there, and maybe meet up at, for ice cream. But she wasn't willing to give her time for her future in laws. And so, unfortunately, that set the tone for this relationship. And our son didn't fight for us because it's not important to him either. She is more important, right? And I get that. I I totally get that. But when you're talking about in-laws and bringing someone into a family for the rest of your lives, it's important that people get along. It's really important that people get along, not for just right now, but for all the things in the future, for grandbabies and all those things. So I'll probably never see those kids. I'll never see those grandbabies. I mean, it is what it is, right? She doesn't like me. She's made it very clear. And I mean, I'm sure there's a level of maturity there. I think she's 23, 24 years old. Maybe she's still a little immature when it comes to the ability to start fresh. I know I can be intimidating. I know that I can be brash, but I had no intentions of being that way, and she wasn't even willing to give me the benefit of the doubt. Even though I had said, years ago that this girl was never allowed in my home after how she treated me after she ate dinner at my table and how she treated my son. Uh, so I've done a lot of growing in the last 3 years. She doesn't know who I am anymore either. So once again, she's just going by previous. Well, she's not even going by previous experience because she didn't even like. I wasn't even mean to her then. I was never mean to her. Never been mean to her. I never saw her after that dinner. And they dated for like a year and a half. I never saw her. So that was rejection number 1, 2, 3, 4 in the past few weeks. And then another son of mine has a girlfriend that they've been dating for a long time, and we haven't really there's been some. We've never met her parents, right? I think there's been some things about her parents said to us and things about us said to her parents that we were all never really interested in meeting each other. Just how it was. And we were all okay with that. And this young lady just, she always said she didn't really want a big wedding. And then, she sends me a message and she said, hey, I'd really like for, and it's so ironic, right? The timing is so ironic. She's like, I'd really like for uh, my parents and you and Mr. Danny and um, and Danny's ex-wife Tiffany. I'd like for all of us to go to dinner as a family because what I've decided is I want you guys to get to know each other because I do want a wedding. And I can't have a wedding if y'all don't all get along. And I'm figuring that out now. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, listen, I'm happy to do it. We can go to dinner. We can, just start fresh, right? I'm down. Whatever. I want this to work long term. I mean, just I don't have to hang out with her parents, right? We don't have to be besties, but we can all be grown-ups and get along in a room for the sake of our children. That's what this all comes down to, is for the sake of our children. Yes, we can all be grown-ups. Like, put your big girl freaking panties on, right? And Danny's ex-wife hates me. And I honestly, I mean, yes, I can understand there were some things in the beginning, and if you watch the podcast on how Danny and I met, he did not cheat on her with me, but there's more to the story. We actually knew people, and I had dated someone that she was dating, and anyway, it was just real messy. Um, But I don't understand, because I've never done anything but take care of her kids and love her kids. Like, her kids, they're with us a week on, a week off, all growing up, you know? Like, her kids are my kids. I don't refer to his and hers. It's ours, right? And I don't understand that. But like, they're not even allowed to talk about me and Danny in her home. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Um And so this young lady sent me a message back, and she just said, well, it's just going to be you, me, and my parents, and, our son and Mr. Danny. Uh, his ex-wife's response was, I'll be happy to go out to dinner with your parents and meet them, but it's too stressful for me to be in the same room with Allison and Danny. And I'm like, mic drop. What? Like, this is for the sake, like, what are you gonna do when they have babies and we have birthday parties? Because I'm not missing that shit. Not in a million years am I missing anything with my grandbabies, right? But what are you gonna do? Like, are you just not gonna show up because Danny and I are in the same room? I mean, fucking grow up. Seriously. And it makes me angry with my son that he doesn't stand up to his mother. None of these people like confrontation. Okay, none of us like confrontation anyway, but they don't confront each other about doo-doo squat. They just shut down. That's like the, oh, I'm getting red because I'm mad. They just shut down completely, and they don't say a word. They just shut down, and they, you can't have a conversation, right? But I think that my son should go to his mother and say, hey, this is important, right? This is important for our future. Like, you're going to have to figure out how to get over this, because this has to do with our future and our legacy and our children. And what, are you just not going to come to our wedding? Are you not going to come to the bridal showers? Like, aren't we going to like plan all this stuff together? Aren't you, all the girls, going to get together and plan stuff? Is this not going to affect our children and their birthdays later on and graduations? Like, everything's going to entwine all of us together. I mean, put your big girl panties on and do it for your kids. Stop being so damn selfish. I don't want to be in a room with her and hang out either, but I will, because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do for our children. Holy Lordy, all these people that have all this drama, get over yourself. Seriously, get over yourself, because you have got to do the right thing for your kids. It's not about you, it's about them. And so that was like the last stab that I had last week. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like 5. On top of all the rejections in my business, on top of all the drama with my mama, on top of all of it, right? Like, sometimes I think my mom is just smoking freaking crack. I sent her a message last night, and I just said, I'll be there to pick you up in the morning for her doctor's appointment. She sends this message, oh, you don't really have to go. You don't have to take me. I don't want you to have to take time. And I'm like, it's already on my calendar. And it's been on my calendar for a month. I'll be there to pick you up. Like, why are you trying to change things? Like, I'll be there. And then it just turned into, I'm a big giant piece of shit, and I don't ever have time for her, and my calendar doesn't mean anything to her. And I'm just trying, like, oh my God, like, the drama. I cannot, it's too much. It's totally too much. Like, Even with Danny's ex, I would love to go sit in a room and just say, like, what is it? Like, how can I make our relationship better so that you're not stressed out when you're in the same room with us? And the only thing that I can think of is there's jealousy. There's still jealousy because I'm married to a man and we have which is her ex-husband. They were together like 11 years out of high school. They had 2 children together. I get it, right? But he wasn't for you. He was made for me, and you had some beautiful children together, and I love those children very much, but we are soulmates. And I'm sorry if you're jealous of that. I'm sorry if you're jealous of the life that we lead and how well he provides. But I mean, damn, you got it made pretty well too. I mean, you got a great job, a great career. Like, you're not, it's not like you're over there sucking eggs. So I don't understand it. I don't understand where that comes from. I mean, I try my hardest to be a good person, to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And like, if I was such a horrible person, you didn't want to be in a room with me, why send me a freaking birthday message every year? I mean, if you can do that, why can't we be at an event together, right? You know how tired our kids are of having separate things, separate events, separate birthdays, separate graduation parties, separate everything? Like, that's so freaking stupid. Do y'all understand how bad your kids want their parents in the same room at the same time? Grow the F up and get over yourself. This goes for my kids' dads too, because they suck ass. They cannot be grown up enough just to be in a room for their kids. Do you know how selfish that is? I don't care what the drama is. I don't care what that person did to you. The two of you made a damn baby together, and you have a responsibility to be their parents when it's important. When it's important to those kids, they need their parents there. So quit being selfish. Do what you're supposed to do as a parent. That's your responsibility. Grow up and get over yourself. Seriously, like, that shit makes me so mad because I will put myself in an uncomfortable position. No, no. I will do anything for my children. I will do anything that puts myself in an uncomfortable position, anything for my kids. I will drive through rain, white knuckled on Interstate 20, crying my eyeballs out to get to one of my kids' swim meets. But by God, I'm going to effing be there. And that's how every parent should be about their kids. And that's how serious I am about being a parent and being there for my kids. Period. Grow up. Get over yourself. I can't say that enough. And be there for your kids and do the right thing. They did not ask to be in that relationship. They didn't ask to be born. They didn't ask to be brought into all the drama, all the dysfunction. They didn't ask for that. So for a couple of hours a year, do you think that you could just be a grown up? Or is that too hard for you? Is that too stressful for you? Do you need a safe space and a puppy? Are you effing kidding me? I'm so over this. And this isn't just about Danny's ex and my ex. This is about every kid that goes through this. This is about my childhood and my life and my broken family. Do you think these kids really want this? No, they don't, but they got born into it. They got drug into it. They got drug into all your shit between you and your ex. Just grow up and do the right thing for your kids. Do anything for your kids because they're your babies and they want that from you. I had to come to the realization, honestly, and it was through the conversation, like I said earlier, with my friend Ayana. Um, I have to know that this is their own insecurities, right? This is their own issues, their own drama, their own crap. It's not about me. It's about them. And they haven't worked through their shit. And I'm sorry that, no, I'm not sorry. I am a confident person. And if that's too much for you, then that's on you and not me. Fake it till you make it. Do whatever you got to do. But I am confident in who I am as a person. Does the rejection hurt? Yes. But when people show you who they are, oh my God, believe them. Seriously. So those people, I'm not going to make much time for in my life because I'm not important to them either. Right? Rejection sucks and it creates animosity. And I have to know, like I posted this thing, like whatever you're going through right now, God is just preparing you for what's coming, right? It's just a way to build your character and strengthen you. Whatever you're going through, there's a reason for it. So I'm just going to believe that there's a reason for it. I am going to trust my God that I am learning something from this. And boy, let me tell you, am I learning something from this? I am so excited that I have an appointment tomorrow with my fairy godmother, Janelle. She's my life coach. She's the one I've been talking to. And she's going to be, and she's given me some really good tools to work with over the last 3 or 4 months we've been working together. I'm so grateful for her. But I cannot wait to tell her like how much I've worked through this on my own without, and I'm so proud of myself because I didn't even cry. And I really thought I was going to cry. I even had a tissue sitting out just in case. Just do the right thing, people. And maybe that right thing doesn't involve me. Tell me that. Tell me, look, you're not important enough to me for your time. My number one language, love language, is quality time. Quality time. If you don't have time for me, then we're not speaking the same language. Interesting, right? Especially because I'm a workaholic and my number one love language is quality time, and I give all that quality time to those people in my business. And I don't give near enough of that quality time to my husband and my kids. So I'm always taking care of someone else. And maybe that's the lesson I learned in this. I've been trying to get better at that. I've been working on that. I hope my family sees that. Anyway, that's it. So I'm going to leave you with this. Sometimes the rejection isn't about you, it's about them. And I think that as long as you're always doing the right thing and you have a good heart and you have good intentions, then you can't worry about what other people think or how other people treat you or that other people don't want to be around you. Maybe you're just too much for them. Maybe your personality is just too big for them. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that for you. That's on them. But please do the right thing for your children. Okay? Your kids need that. They need that. They need to know that their parents can be in the same room for them. That's it. For them. And if you can't, you need some therapy. And you need to seek out uh, Janelle Wilkes with Awakenings Coaching. She can help you get through that. And if you would need info on how to reach out to her, then shoot me a message and I'll totally set you up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to my rant. I hope it reached somebody. I hope that it reaches somebody that makes a difference for you. You know where you can find us: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. I mean, I don't even know what episode we're on, but it's so many. We're almost a year into this, and that's probably one of the most exciting things to me. So thank you. Thank you for listening. And if you love it, please share it because it's important. If this doesn't get shared, it doesn't go anywhere. So subscribe, hit the subscribe button and all that good stuff. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you for those that do love me. Thank you for those who do accept me for who I am. It means the world to me. And peace out, homies. See y'all later.